Alright guys, I wanted to make a little bit of a video about water, since water is a big part of caring for carnivorous plants, and a big reason why many people kill their carnivorous plants. Now, unlike a normal whatever other plants where you could just water them with tap water, tap water, for example, contains many dissolved solids and minerals that are very harmful to carnivorous plants. They are very harmful to carnivorous plants because, like, in the wild, the water in swamps is actually very pure, and of course it also lacks nutrients. That's the whole reason they're carnivorous in the first place. So if you give a carnivorous plant nutrients, whether it be in the water or in the soil, it will kill them. So this is just going to be a little video on like just testing your tap water. Some people's tap water is actually like fine for carnivorous plants, but most people aren't. And a couple like options you have to get to good water for carnivorous plants. So this here, if you're in the carnivorous plant hobby, you should probably invest in one of these. They're only like 10-15 bucks on Amazon. This is a TDS meter, or total dissolved solids. Alright, and that is going to measure the total dissolved solids in your water to see if it's suitable for carnivorous plants. You're gonna want like 0 to like 10 or 5. If you have a little bit more, you might need to like flush out your soil here and there, because if you keep using the water of minerals, it'll be fine in the short term, but over time the minerals will build up and it will burn the roots and it'll kill the plant. So if you use water with a little bit of minerals in it, you could just flush out the soil to get rid of those mineral buildup. But in this container here, I'm gonna add this. This is my tap water in here. All right, so I'm just gonna add some to here. Oops, there we go. Okay. Now I'm gonna take this, take off the cap, click on. It shows 0 right now. And you can see it has those metal prongs. You're just gonna wanna stick that into the water and give it a minute, and we're looking at 48 ppm, or parts per million, which is definitely too much for carnivorous plants. You'd have to it would kill them, or you'd have to flush it out very frequently. That's too much. So now what? You just learned that your tap water is not suitable for carnivorous plants. Well, and you still want to care for them and stuff. What can you do? You've got a couple of options. First option is to collect rainwater. Of course, that's like a major source of water they're getting in the wild. Of course, it's the rain. It's the cycle of water. The rain doesn't have any, dissolved minerals or fertilizers or whatever in it. So rainwater is perfectly fine. You don't have to protect your carnivorous plants from the rain. They'll get rained on, and you could have a little jug or a rain catcher to catch some rainwater. So when it's a drier week and it's not raining, you could use that water to water them. A second option is filtering your water, and of course there's many different options. You could use reverse osmosis or things like that. You could even distill your own water. You could buy distilled jugs from the supermarket. If you want something a little bit cheaper like me, it doesn't have a ton of money, you can buy one of these. This is a zero water pitcher. I really like the zero water brand. This will filter out tons of all your dissolved solids until it will literally read 0, hence zero water. Like I said, you can buy distilled water jugs from a supermarket, but if you've got, on the larger side of a collection, kind of like me, and your plants drink a lot of water, and you need a lot of water, then you're going to want to filter your own water, because it's going to be pretty annoying to go back and forth in the store and schlepping up jugs all the time, because your plants are going to be thirsty, especially in these hot summer months. you want to keep them wet at all times. So this water has been filtered. You can buy this on Amazon also for like 30 bucks. The filters are pretty expensive. They're like 15 bucks, and they will last you a good amount. It depends how much dissolved solids are in your tap water. Me, like I said, like I showed you, the tap water is like 50, so this lasts a pretty good time. But if your tap water has like, I don't know, 150, then you might need to replace the filter quite often. So I'm just gonna add some into there, just like that. Grab our trusty TDS meter, stick that in there. As you can see, a beautiful 0. Right, I don't know the exact numbers, but if this is like 2 to 3, probably like under 5, you're okay. But 0 water is great. Gets you to 0. There's probably other good brands out there, but I just have experience using 0 water, so I just, I know they're good. So this water is perfectly all good for carnivorous plants. It doesn't have to be crystal clear. Like, the water can be like, you could see the water in my tray that's brown. It's because of like a little peat moss particles, and it can have algae, and you can have like a frog swimming in your water, and that's perfectly fine. Carnivorous plants don't need, like freaking crystal clear, like Atlantic glacier water, just no dissolved solids, all that peat and stuff, that's all like natural, perfectly fine things, so don't feel the need to like change your water or be panicked if your water is brown or whatever is going on in there. It's perfectly fine. Now that you have this, sorry, this spider on the wall there, you can't see it. Now that you have this water, in terms of how to water your plants, the best method that I use particularly, because I have temperate plants that live in bogs and stuff. If you have like the penthes or other species that don't want to be constantly waterlogged, then you might not want to use the water tray method. But I use the water tray method, where you keep your carnivorous plants in a tray of water. It can be a small tray. If you have a lot like me, it can be a nice big tray. You put all them in, and you keep that filled with water, of course, the filtered water. And that'll be great. They'll soak it up through the bottom. That's why you need to have pots with drainage holes. Put this sphagnum so the peat in the pot won't leach into the water. And yeah, you want to let the water level like run dry for like a little bit before you keep adding water. You don't need to constantly top it off, because when the water level depletes down to the bottom, it's good. It allows oxygen to go up under and oxygenate the roots. So it's good to do that. If you keep them constantly soaked, like if you're in like a humid place like me, you can get problems like rhizome rot, things like that. So you want to be careful there. But keep them constantly wet, just like, yeah, you don't need to like top off the water. If you know it's going to be like a really hot day out and your water levels like drying out really fast, you could add like maybe a good 2 inches to the water or something like that, if you know it's just a really hot, dry day. But yeah, I'm gonna pause here and I'm gonna show you guys my setup for outside. Alright guys, and now I'm outside. If you saw my tour video, then you'll see I have these saucers. But yeah, I used to have small little clear plastic ones, but if you have a lot of plants, then just buying big ones like this keeps things nice and neat and organized and efficient, space wise and stuff like that. And you can see I got water in here, and it doesn't look the greatest. You can see there's like a little bit of perlite, a little bit of dirt, a little bit of brown. The water is like a little bit of a brown color. Maybe got like a dead insect floating in there. That's perfectly fine. These plants are great, just as long as the water is, no dissolved minerals and fertilizers, then that's good. I don't know if it just paused there, sorry. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Also, Right, I kind of, as you saw, I filter my own water with the zero water pitchers, but I also collect a little bit of rainwater. You know, when it's raining, maybe these fill up all the way and it can overflow, or if the rain is landing in any here, it will go in those holes you see, 1, 2, and then another 3, 4, and I'll go down in here, and you can't really tell too much, but yeah, this whole thing is slanted, so it comes to a point here, and then just grab some in here. I don't collect enough rainwater to be like sufficient for all my plants. You know, you could have like just a really dry week and there's no rain, and you need to get some water somehow. But when it does rain, I just catch some water. You know, it just gives my filter a break, and you know, just catch a little bit of water. It's just good to have some of that. You know, because it's like this thing like acts as a rain catcher. You know, it goes to the point at the bottom. It's like, why not just stick a jug there and just catch some of the water I'm getting? You know, because like I said, those filters are pretty expensive, so if you can get your own water, that'd be pretty neat. And yeah, that's gonna be the end of the water video. Hopefully that clarified some things about water. You know, don't buy like Poland Spring. Any like, you know, if you are going to go to the store and buy like water, make sure it says like distilled and it has 0 added things to it. All right, I made that mistake of my like second carnivorous plant I ever bought. I watered it with Poland Spring water. All those you know, like bottled waters for drinking, they have added minerals to maybe enhance the taste, or like some added vitamins or electrolytes or whatever crap like that. You know, don't want that. It's just gonna kill your plant. So yeah, that's going to be the end of the video here. Hope you enjoyed. And yeah, bye.